Good morning and welcome to another fresh edition of your breakfast show on Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. Today is Tuesday, January 21, 2025, and my name is Winifred Ubebo, your host on the program. On the first segment of the show, like we normally do, we see what papers, national papers that is, are saying this Tuesday, including Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's go there. Let's find out what leadership is offering on its menu this Tuesday. $2.3 billion MAMBILLA project case. Buhari makes appearance at ICC on Thursday. I'm in Paris to put the record straight. Obasanjo, other Nigerian leaders invited to testify. These are kickers to the leading story on leadership Tuesday, January 21, 2025. $2.3 billion MAMBILLA project case. Buhari makes appearance at ICC on Thursday. The story runs on page 4 of Leadership newspaper. And beneath that, we have all the trending pictures and stories. For today is also in other papers. We have on our menu, that is a picture of Donald Trump being sworn in as America 47th president of the United States of America. And he says, God save me to make America great again. That is MAGA, make America great again. Trump yesterday was inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States of America. Congratulations to him. These and many other stories we're going to be discussing in the second half of our program today. Meanwhile, let's continue with leadership. Military closes in on Toji K's son. Otudeko Onasayan's arraignment now February 13. Governor Yusuf donates land for Power Secretariat. Naira declines to 1,551 naira per dollar amid rising demand. That takes us to the stories just close to the masthead. Tanker explosion death toll hits 98. Victims move to Abuja. And on the business board, NCC approves 50% tariff increase for telecom operators. And above the masthead of leadership, still countdown to leadership's conference award ceremony coming up later in the first quarter of this year. And Dangote, who is the person of the year 2024 leadership newspaper, says, I don't take this award for granted. Yesterday, we also have the picture of him being presented with the award with the editor-in-chief of Leadership Media Group, Azo Isiekwane. He says, I don't take this award for granted. Congratulations to Leadership Person of the Year 2024, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. With that, we move to the page 3, where we have our stand. Today's stand is on brazen trend of kidnapping. Brazen trend of kidnapping. Sniped from that stand says it made headline news where it was reported that 4 armed men kidnapped the wife of a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Hakeem Odumosu, from her residence in the Arepo Obafemi Owode local government area of Ogun State late last week. It doesn't matter that her husband is retired because at that level, Odumosu still enjoys some component of police protection, which is also extended to his family members. That these criminals were able to break into that protection ring brings to the fore their temerity and brazenness, which ought to serve as a challenge to the police and other security operatives. If such a high-ranking police officer is so vulnerable, then it means that the ordinary citizens surviving each day can only be attributed to divine intervention. These are paragraphs from today's stand on leadership newspaper, brazen trend of kidnapping. Of course, you have to log on to read more, the concluding part of that editorial today on leadership. From our stand, we move to the back page where we have Tuesday column with Abdurrauf Aliyu. Today's column, Aliyu is writing on tax reform is fragile consensus. Tax reform is fragile consensus. In quote, the success of these reforms will depend on the ability of all parties to find common ground, balancing revenue generation with protecting vulnerable Nigerians and fostering business growth to ensure a more sustainable economy. Quote from that back page today, tax reform is fragile consensus. For more on this, the editorial, the inside news pages, and the conclusion of the headline stories, log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move to the next paper we have in our menu, and that is Vanguard. Let's go Vanguard and see what that Vanguard has to offer this Tuesday. It says ahead 2027 while opposition can't upstage ruling party. Ahead 2027 while opposition can't upstage ruling party. The kickers, greed of political actors, role of money, pressure from constituents, fear of losing political relevance, any government in power achieve orientation, absence of a second address, absence on internal party democracy, state capture by ruling party, and loss of faith in electoral umpire. These are kickers to the leading story on Vanguard this Tuesday, ahead 2027, while opposition can't upstage ruling party. Beneath that, elevated inflation, a major economic challenge coming from Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. Elevated inflation, a major economic challenge, Wale Edun. We also have the picture of Donald Trump as he takes oath as 47th US president, gracing the cover of Vanguard newspaper this Tuesday. And beneath that, it says just what leadership also led with. I was saved by God to make America great again. Trump. Same story, same headline story by leadership newspaper. I was saved by God to make America great again. Immediate action plan. It says stop American decline. Bring the integrity of our country back. Declares January 20th, 2025 as Liberation Day. To work with all races in his journey. Will be driven by pursuit of excellence and will not forget our God. Declare national emergency on the southern borders. Send troops to the southern borders. I will invoke the remain in Mexico and build the wall. Declare national energy emergency. To recognize only two genders, male and female. To change Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Coming from these are action points from the 47th president of the United States of America, Donald Trump. Other stories on the cover of Vanguard today. NCC approves 50% tariff rise for telecom operators. Rivers crisis, why I won't settle rift with Fubara, coming from Wike, the Minister of FCT. You can't win political war against Fubara. Reconcile now, Sarah Igbe. And in sports, Shell Okocha calls for support. From sports, we move to the stories above the masthead of Vanguard. Court condemns media trial, denies EFCC arrest warrant request, says Otudeco, orders not properly served. I'll defend my reputation aggressively, Otudeco. I serve FBN with dedication and integrity, Onosanya. And lastly, we have two stories also remaining. Edo Guba Tribunal, journalists attacked as DSS APC supporters clash. I would join issues with Wike coming from Wagbara. And with that, we conclude review of front headline stories on Vanguard this Tuesday. For continuation of these headline stories, log on to the website of Vanguard, www.vanguardngr.com. From Vanguard, we move to the next paper on our lineup, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says federal government frees cesarean section. 104 facilities were listed as pilot phase records, 2,819 beneficiaries. Federal government frees cesarean section. 104 facilities were listed as pilot phase records, 2,819 beneficiaries. We also have the picture of Donald Trump, like I mentioned earlier, gracing the cover of The Guardian. The Guardian has different stories for it. It says anxiety as Trump returns to power, recognizes only two genders. EFCC arraigns AMCON SMD, orders on alleged 76 billion naira, $31.5 million fraud. Niger tanker explosion, death toll rises to 98 as Agric Minister mourns victims. Less than 1,000 mines active as NMCO issues 7,000 mining licenses. Police foil bandit attacks, rescue 207 traffic children. Reps declare Tinubu's 595 billion naira allocation to intelligence inadequate. And above this, just towards the masthead of The Guardian, how the economy without impact on average Nigerian worries senators. Nigerians to pay 50% more for calls, data, SMS. I'm unsure of unemployment statistics in Nigeria, says Labour Minister. And the story above the masthead says court condemns media trial, says Otudeko, orders not properly served by EFCC. Onosayan says, I served FBN with dedication and integrity. That is First Bank of Nigeria. And Otudeko says, I'll defend my reputation aggressively. These are more for continuation of this story to find in the website of The Guardian, www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, we move over to the next paper on our menu, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun says military kills Surge's son, several other terrorists. Dismantles 23 illegal refineries in major ways in 3 states. Police kill 11 bandits, rescue 207 abducted children. Foil attacks in Kogi, Katsina. Leading story today on Daily Sun newspaper. Of course, we also have the picture of Donald Trump being sworn in as 47th President of the United States by Chief Justice John Roberts, as Melania Trump holds the Bible during the 60th presidential inauguration in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Beneath that, World Bank debacks 2 Nigerian companies CEO for fraud. Niger tanker explosion, more deaths as death toll rises to 98. 22 victims moved to tertiary medical centers for enhanced care. High rate of expatriates working in Nigeria without permit security risk, NECA. Permit security risk coming from NECA. High rate of expatriates working in Nigeria without permit security risk. Pass without impact, how over 20 MOUs fail to boost Nigeria's food production. The story runs on page 23 of Daily Sun. Pass without impact, how over 20 MOUs fail to boost Nigeria's food production. We move towards the masthead of Daily Sun, where we have court condemns media trial, denies EFCC arrest warrant request, says Otudeko, orders not properly served. Beside the masthead of Daily Sun, fanfare as Trump takes oath as U.S. 47th president, declares era of America's decline over, says there will only be 2 genders recognized by U.S. government. The story is on page 26 of Daily Sun. It's also on that note we draw the curtain on the first half of today's program, Inside Nigeria. We have the second half coming in shortly with our guest in the studio. Don't go away. Stay tuned for the second half of the program.
Masu kallon mu kar a manta kuna tare ne da shirin Leadership Hausa na Barka da Hantsi Najeriya da muke gabatarwa a ɗakin watsa shirye-shiryenmu na Last Word da ke babban birnin tarayya Abuja. A ci gaba da kasancewa tare da mu.
Leadership TV for God and country. Leadership TV for God and country.
Ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future. Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future. Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future. Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future. Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future. Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
for that longer interlude. The program is still Inside Nigeria, your breakfast on Leadership Celebration, where we are expecting our guest any moment from now. But before he comes, we still have some papers that we have on our menu. Let's see what their cover or the menu is offering to readers. Starting from THISDAY newspaper. THISDAY says Trump inaugurated 47th U.S. president, says America must free baby Dre. Leading story on THISDAY newspaper. That's Tuesday. Val Swift border crackdown. Insists under him America will recognize only two genders. Unleashes slew of new executive orders. Biden, Obama, Bush, Kamala Harris attend event. Tech billionaires Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg orders flood ceremony. Ex-President Biden issues preemptive pardon for family forces orders. Putin preview other world leaders greet Trump. The story runs on page 9 of THISDAY. I'll take that again. Trump inaugurated 47th U.S. president, says America must free baby Dre, in quotes. Wonder what that means. Val Swift border crackdown. Insists under him America will recognize only two genders. Unleashes slew of new executive orders. Biden, Obama, Bush, Kamala Harris attend event. Tech billionaires Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg orders flood ceremony. Ex-President Biden issues preemptive pardon for family forces orders. Putin preview other world leaders with Trump, and just like other papers before it, we have the pictures of the inauguration ceremony on the cover of THISDAY. We have the Vice President takes oath as Vice President, while we have Trump, which captures says against all odds, Trump is president again. That says us in stories. Another leading story on the cover of THISDAY is just beneath the masthead of THISDAY paper. 2025 budget, Humanitarian Affairs Ministry takes 260 billion naira to create 2 million jobs. House Committee insists 595 billion naira allocated to intelligence subsector inadequate. Senate rejects Information Ministry's meager 8.9 billion naira budget. And atop the masthead of THISDAY, in bid to improve services, NCC approves 50% rise in telecom tariffs. Prepare implementable budget for approval, National Assembly says NDA. Prepare implementable budget for approval, National Assembly says NDA. These are the concluding stories on the cover of THISDAY newspaper this Tuesday, January 21, 2025. For continuation of these headline stories, don't forget to log on to the website of THISDAY newspaper, www.thisdaylive.com. From THISDAY, we move over to the next paper we have in our menu, and that is Blueprint. Blueprint says telecom subscribers hit. Telecom subscribers hit as NCC approves 50% tariff hike. That's the latest story on Blueprint newspaper this morning. But before we go to Blueprint, let's just quickly see the inauguration of Trump yesterday as 47th President of the United States of America. Happy viewing.
Office.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Webo, and of course, finally, I have my guest sitting beside me in the studio. Is a public affairs analyst, Benedict Olaleko Agunoye.
Good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the studio. Yes, we just watched the video of the inauguration ceremony of the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, and his deputy, Vance. That's where we are taking our story from today. Of course, what does this mean? We just watched the video of the inauguration of President Donald Trump, and before, in fact, he has actually hit the ground running, because during his speech yesterday, like THISDAY posted, he said, "Vow swift border crackdown, insists under him America will recognize only two genders, unleashes slew of new executive orders." What are we saying here? You could say that he's a man that hit the ground running, because prior to his inauguration, he has been making appointments.
Well, basically, I think he's not new to the system.
Yeah.
He's coming in for a second time.
After a 4
He had
year
had the opportunity of a 4-year period of looking at the things he has done over and over again. And of course, we saw him talking about the climate, the Paris climate agreement. Obviously, in his first term, that was something he had wanted to pull US out from, but perhaps he was not able to do that. And so coming back, he is putting that in his front burner and want that done immediately. Of course, he wants to restrict the abuse of his border by his neighbors. Because I think sometimes when America talks about immigration, for those of us that are far from them, they already have us under check, because we don't necessarily have to go through the border. We have to go through the embassy, go through the border post in our own country before we do the intercontinental trip. So, but the people he had issues with will be the gangs from Mexico, the gangs from the Caribbean countries, their immediate neighbor. So I think sometimes when he's talking immigration, I see Nigerians as overreacting.
Yes,
because we are not in the pool of the people that is actually.
You just mentioned it, because he's so fixated on that Mexico border, and that was something he couldn't realize during his first tenure. Remember, he even wanted Mexico to be the one to build the wall, and they refused. So this time around, what are we expecting? Well, he said he was going to build the wall. Is he going to do that?
Well, whether he builds the wall or not, as long as he is rightly focused on immigration, although I think some of the mistakes maybe in his first term will be separating children from their parents, I really don't think that was too good. So you should find a better means of keeping the family together, deporting the entire family if he needs to, or take them in if he needs to, as against separating the children from the mother. Then when you come to climate, I think it's a touchy area for us. US pulling out of the Paris Agreement means less funding for the climate agenda. We are beneficiaries of the climate funding agenda, so we are going to lose. But on the other side, if US will continue to consume hydrocarbons, we are a major beneficiary of that. So what we would likely lose from whatever should come in as aids and grant from Paris Agreement would definitely be coming to us directly, as we would be able to also do more hydrocarbon business, while we, by other means, begin to look at how to plug the gaps that we will have in the climate challenges, making our waterways better, channeling the irrigation schemes, and ensuring that we can augment for low water volume, and as well we are able to handle excess water when it comes. Because those are some of the things that would happen. When there are droughts, how do we survive with maybe dry season farming? How do we get grasses for our animal and the rest of that? Those should now be in the front burner, to know that as much as we are getting more money from petroleum or from oil and gas, we are putting it into renewable and into sustainable practices.
All right, thank you so much. Now, I want to find out because many Nigerians are anxious. You mentioned about immigration, the issue of immigration, but he has clarified and said illegal immigration. So we are asking, what is going to be the impact on Nigeria's economy? That is Donald Trump's second coming.
Well, I think also that the second coming should be good for us, even in immigration.
Okay.
I used to work in an international company, and I realized that countries like Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia do not have indigenes who are engineers that work with us. Rather, they employ people from Philippines and India. So it tells you that in a way, and those ones, what I notice is when they live in Qatar, in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, they don't live with their families. Their families are back home in Philippines. So almost everything they realize is being repatriated to their country. But what the country just does is to ensure that they are training more engineers, they are training more medical staff. So even if people are moving, when they go abroad, they can bring back resources. But there will be no gap at home because the schools that have trained those ones that are going out are well trained. There would always be job for skilled people across the world. And I think that rather than frown at people migrating when they have their skills, when they have the competence, we should be looking at what do we do to ensure that we are producing more and more, and that the skills that are available in the system are not being abandoned. You see graduates riding keke napep. How does he apply engineering or medicine or pharmacy that he studied in school at that point? But if you are put him in the right place, even if the international organization or countries will poach them or they will decide to leave, you will know that one, they are living as skilled migrants, and wherever they get to, they are adding value and they are bringing back returns.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, would it be like a sign of body language? Because he said just before he took oath of office, he said he wants to see alliances formed. During his first term, Trump actually did not fight any war, and he also said he was not going to fight any war. And we are seeing alliances being forged, talking about Gaza, which was, being elusive for 18 months, the battle raged on in Gaza. And now we saw the agreement signed, the peace accord signed between, and even yesterday, while Putin, the Russian prime minister, while Putin was congratulating Donald Trump, he said he was also ready for peace accord with Ukraine. Could you attribute it to his second coming?
Well, yes, he can be part of his second coming. Basically, Trump in his first term was very clear that look, China has not fought any war after the Second World War. And so there is no basis why China should not progress. Because when you talk about war, even when you are the one producing the item, explosives and all those materials are expensive. So when you see that we are doing an area bombardment somewhere, after that 5 minutes bombardment, when you check the cost of missiles that have been dispensed, they are millions of dollars. That could have been used to achieve several other things. So Trump therefore believed that, look, as much as possible, we should avoid the incident of war. Or he doesn't look at America getting into war directly. And then, of course, when you look at him, sometimes he also sounds more to me like a bully. Now, a bully does not get involved in a fight. They beat. And they look for people they can beat. They choose their partner. They choose their victim. So even if he will get involved in anything, he's going to be in an environment where he thinks he is under his control, where he can control the process at minimal cost and material resource, both human and material.
How do you think he's going to handle this China TikTok in US? Because just prior to his coming, they were out of services because the Supreme Court ruled that they should not operate, and they were even willing at a point to sell to an American. But now, with Trump's coming, what is going to play out? Will Trump allow it?
Well, Trump, I think, has a lot of alliance or friends within the tech sector. The reality was that even those guys in the Silicon Valley who did not see much value in him before election and went ahead donating to
Biden.
Kamala.
Oh, yes.
As soon as the election was over, he wasn't the one looking for them. They all went looking for him. So I think that within the tech sector, he has enough friends.
Yes.
He
They
has
were even
enough
at his,
capacity.
ceremony.
So they are going to be able to manage that process. If it will mean an American buy-in to TikTok, it will eventually happen. Because it's also a large market that I think that to a large extent, both the owner of the people will lose, but the owner of the platform also wants to be back.
But there was a report that instead the American youngsters flooded to another China platform in the US.
Yeah, I still think that if there are issues of economy at stake, for a protective person, an American conscious protective person like Trump,
Yes.
they will definitely find a means of getting what will benefit the nation around for the people. After all, China came up with WeChat and they were restricting their own people from using WhatsApp. So it's a give or take. You need to protect your nation, you need to serve your people, but you have to also strike a balance.
Yes, thank you so much. Of course, what do we expect from somebody who coined the acronym Make America Great Again, MAGA? Well, it's on that note we come back to Nigeria and see what is trending. The NCC has approved 50% rise in telecoms tariff. It means that Nigerians are going to be paying 50% more for their calls, for their data, and other data services. Is that not going to exacerbate the current situation Nigerians are already in?
Well, the impact, I believe, will be minimal. But
Yeah,
however,
50%.
what we need to demand is good service. Even when they did not change the price. I always say, my little boy at 7 will tell me that, when that Glo, and when you buy Glo data, he has a lot of restriction on his tab, no doubt. But even with all the restriction, at least there are, because he had registered his account with his age. So there are things by his age that he should have access to. But we tell you that, when the data come, Glo gives you so much data, or this network gives you much data, that one gives you so much data, but you cannot use it. What he's saying is that, look, these services are not correct. So children 5 years old, 10 years old knows that the services are wrong. Adults, elders know that the services are wrong. So I think that by and large, NCC need to sit down and actually give us a metrics, a data that shows the effectiveness of the services across the nation. Where do we have the service? Where is the coverage good? Where is the coverage bad? And there should be means for people to give feedback.
Yes.
So for me, it's not about the tariff. When you also come to the tariff, yes, they are talking about rising costs. Yes, cost will rise. When they came in 2002, they started running their base stations on generator. But before 2002, Nitel had been trying to run services with solar. They were experimenting it when the government chose to commit blue murder and kill Nitel. I am not saying we should not have brought in the private sector, but we should not have killed Nitel abruptly. We should have allowed Nitel to continue to be in that market the way British Telecom is still in the market in the UK despite all the available private sector. So if Nitel was already experimenting solar in the 80s and the 90s, why would the telcos on ground now continue to rely on diesel for 23 years?
Yes.
And then you are now costing us based on the fact that the cost of diesel is rising. No, technology has changed so much that renewable, it's everywhere. Master could be mounted on mountains and you could run on some form of solar, combine it with wind, with tidal, with wind, and give us things. At the cost, you could be looking at tidal. So what investment are we getting from the telcos into renewable energy? At what level, even in their offices, are they taking up renewable energy? Should they continue to pollute everywhere with diesel? The answer is no. So to a large extent, service effectiveness must be measured. An ineffective service must be sanctioned. If we work at that, then people can get value for this new amount. And if people are getting value for the money they are spending, I don't think that it is so much a challenge. We are a tech-driven environment. A lot of our businesses today are in the digital sector. So definitely we need their services. But those services should
also
be effective.
reflect the times too. Thank you so much. We'll move over to Leadership newspaper, where we have the leading story. $2.3 billion MAMBILLA project case. Buhari makes appearance at ICC on Thursday. And most other past heads of state like Obasanjo are also there. The Obasanjo says he's in Paris to put the record straight. Now that takes us to the case issue of signing of MOUs. We know that government is a continuum. Why are we signing away most of our patrimony, or in the case of signing? Don't forget the case that it's only God that rescued Nigeria. That case that PNID, yes. So what is happening? Is it that the government, they don't study these MOUs before they append their signature?
Well, I think it will still come back to something. If you are a lawyer and you represent my organization, and then you put us to commit blunder on agreement, whatever the consequences will be, that you should be sanctioned up till your professional level, because that becomes a professional incompetence. If you get involved with financial transaction and you are a transaction expert, accounting expert, or financial expert, and there are issues, the accountant should also get some form of consequence for the action. Yes, the overall boss, the MD or the president, takes the entire blame. Now, asking them to come forward and tell the story as it is under them, I don't think it's wrong. It's a proper thing to do, and it's an action in the right direction. Although, however, I believe that if this matter were to be local, the chances are that some of them might have felt too big or above the law to show their face. But we'll give credit to them and say a big thank you that at least they are ready to explain. Because for me, MAMBILLA is a big concern. Why I was a student, I already knew a MAMBILLA project was conceived somewhere, which was going to give so much power and was going to provide water for irrigation in the entire environment. But unfortunately, till as we speak, nothing has happened. 30 years after. So if people are being called to question, I think it's good. And if they are responding, I think it's also a good thing for us. That at least for once, maybe we would have the story properly told, the errors identified, and then we can correct and start for the building for the future from where we are.
Okay. Now going forward, what should happen? Because we also have a situation too in that took place in Ogun, that our presidential fleet had to be seized. What going forward? How do we go about this so that we don't have such an embarrassing situation?
Well, I think that the investment companies and those who should do business should be allowed to do their things professionally. So it shouldn't be the minister, it shouldn't be the governor. Yes, they are there to facilitate, they are there to give approval, but there should be a process that facilitates continuity, that facilitates procedures, and protect both the investment and the organization going forward. Not that, okay, today I'm the governor, I want this share, I want that share, I want this vested interest, I put my own people there. Then a new governor come in and decide to put in his own people. And somewhere between where we are coming from and where we are, there is no proper record to show what and what are within. Really, and then sometimes, I want to also believe that sometimes out of mischief, some of this information are held back because people want to use it against the system to their own individual benefit.
All right, thank you so much, Bernard. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program, and I can't wait to have you same time, same station for another fresh edition of the program. So, viewers, it's also on this note we end today's program, Inside Nigeria, brought to you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Igbo, your host of the program. Of course, I've had the pleasure of having as my guest today, public affairs analyst Benedict Olalekan Agunoye. Thank you so much once again. So I look forward to having you, seeing you same time, same station for another fresh edition of the program tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.